Hi everyone, how's it going? Today's video I want to go over my top 25 favorite cards from the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery set. It's been out for a couple of weeks now, so I feel better about making this video having seen all the artworks and having been able to see them and sit on them for a while. And yeah, there's just so many good ones. I wanted to originally make this a top 10 list, but I just couldn't narrow it down to only 10 out of the 70, so I made it a top 25. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys share the same sentiment? Do you think that these cards are pretty good? Yeah, because personally I think this is the best set in the Sword and Shield era. I just love so many of these arts, and I think the pull rates are awesome, as well as the chase cards, and it's overall a great set. Starting off the list here with number 25, I'm going to have to go with the Galarian Gallery Semi-Seer. Now, I know this card is very popular and is a chase card for a lot of people, and it definitely tailors towards a certain audience. However, I'm just not a part of that audience, but I can still appreciate how they turned a Pokemon that I would consider ugly into something pretty cool looking. I really like the style of it. It's very Japanese inspired, very cutesy. It's a great looking card, but I think there are plenty more even better looking ones ahead of it. For number 24, I'm going to go with the Deoxys. I think this card is really cool looking. It's very busy looking. There's a lot going on the picture, but it's still pretty cool. I like how there's references to all the item cards we've been seeing recently, like the Rapid Strike Scrolls, the Canceling Colognes, the Welcoming Lanterns, all that stuff. I think that's a really neat touch, and I really like the very anime-inspired action pose that Deoxys is doing. However, I think there's a lot of very, like I said, very busy, a lot going on in this card, and there's better looking cards with better colors ahead of it. But I'm going to have to go with Deoxys for number 24. For number 23, I went with the Latias, going through the clothesline. I think this is a super pretty card. I'm not a super big fan of Latios or Latias, but I think the Latias cards Pokemon Company has been making these past couple of years are incredible. And this one has just a super nice touch. I really like the buildings in the background. I think the scene that's setting is really fun, and the idea that's flying through a bunch of clothesline, the other's getting chased or something, is also really cute. So I'm going to go with Latias for number 23. For number 22, I'm going to go, not a very popular Pokemon, but the Lunatone Galarian Gallery card I think is super pretty. I think it's got some super nice touches. I think the background is super pretty with the clouds and the lighting effects, and just it being at night and crashing down like a meteorite. I think it's really cool looking. And like I said, with a lot of these cards, I'm not the biggest fan of Lunatone, but I think when you give the artist the freedom to do stuff like this, they can come up with some really incredible things for some otherwise lackluster Pokemon. And that's why I'm going to put Lunatone at number 23. For number 21, I'm going to go with the Magnezone card. I think this one's really cool looking. I think it has the same problem with Deoxys though. I think overall it has a better theme and a better color correlation with it, but it's just very busy. There's a lot happening in it, but I like the little touches of Magnezone working in the factory. I think the factory is super detailed and well done. The little Easter eggs like the other Magnemites working and are really cute. So I think that's why I'm going to put Magnezone at number 21. For number 20, I'm going to go with the Drapion Trainer Gallery card. I'm a really big fan of these claymation photo style ones. I know a lot of people aren't. They used to be a lot more popular and a lot more frequent. Done by the Pokemon Company, but less so in recent years. I think this one still has some great touches. The lighting, the sand. I think it's just an awesome photo, and personally I'm a fan of these claymation style ones, so this one really stuck with me when I first saw it. And that's why I'm going to put it at number 20. For number 19, I hate to put this one so low, but I'm going to go with the Absol Trainer Gallery one. I really like Absol as a Pokemon. I think they did it really cool here because it is a disaster Pokemon. You can see kind of the darkness and Stormlumian. And I really think the like New Zealand-esque background on it is very pretty as well. However, there's just something off about it where it doesn't really stick out as much as some of these other cards. So that's why I put it lower on the list. But I still think this is a great looking card and one I definitely look forward to picking up for my collection. For number 18, I'm going to go with the Diancie card. And again, Pokemon Company taking these not very popular Pokemon and putting a fantastic looking art style and colors on them to make this beautiful card. I think Diancie is a very good showcase of that. I really like the lighting on this card, and I think that really shows in Diancie's head. And overall, it's a great looking card, again, from a not very popular Pokemon. And I think it would look great in a binder and as a single, and I look forward to picking this one up in my collection as well. For For number 17, I'm going to go with the Thievel Galarian Gallery card. I really love the colors on this one again. The comic book and noir feeling you get while looking at it, I think is fantastic. You really get the thievery feel to it with Thievel. And I think it's a really well done, well representation of Thievel. And I know a lot of people that really like this card. And I think it's definitely a good one to pick up because it is also pretty cheap. So that's my pick for number 17. Number 16 is one I struggled with putting so low because it is so pretty. But like I said, I just don't think it scratches the itch or the niche I like for Pokemon cards. And that's going to be the Glaceon Galarian Gallery card. Glaceon's one of my more favorite evolutions, I'd say, and I really love the photography aspect that this has. It's definitely very like wildlife photography based, and I think that's really cool. And the colors are super pretty. The fact it's done at sunset is gorgeous, but there's just something about it where it's almost too realistic to a fault, and it really doesn't fit with like how I see Glaceon as. I think this style would be better off with some other Pokemon, so that's why I ended up putting this one so low. But again, this is another one I would not be disappointed if I ended up pulling it myself and putting it towards my personal collection. Now onto our top 15. Number 15 is going to go to the Deoxys V-Star card. This one is super cool. Again, I think it's really well done for Deoxys. It's very showing of what the Pokemon is, but I think it suffers in the fact that it's just a little too busy with all the effects and all the stuff going on in the background. I feel like there's just a lot going on in this card, and despite the cool looking colors and the cool pose that they put Deoxys in, I think this card is about a mid-tier, well, upper high tier, but a mid-tier for this list, and that's why I put Deoxys where it is. Number 14, I'm going to go with the controversial one. I'm going to do the gold variant, or the golden card of Arceus here, and I do like these cards in general. I think they're really cool. I'm not upset with them having their value and them being like the chase cards for this set. However, they just don't really speak to me personally. I like the Renaissance era look to them, and the clouds in the background and the lighting I think are super pretty. But I'd like Arceus in other forms. I think there's other cards that do Arceus better. But I can definitely see why people like this one so much too, and you can't deny the gold ones when put together are pretty cool. So that's why I'm going to put Arceus at number 14. For number 13, it's going to be one that my sister just pulled a little while ago actually when we were opening Crown Zenith box together, and that's the Zamazenta V Trainer Gallery. And I really love this card. I think the colors on this are beautiful. I think the worst part of this card is Zamazenta being on it, because Zamazenta is not my favorite Pokemon, and I think he looks a little out of place here. But the forest and the blue and red or blue and pink contrast is just so pretty. I think the artist did a fantastic job here, and definitely one that looks really good in person too, not just online or in pictures. And that's why I'm going to put it a little bit higher than the Arceus Gold Star at number 13. Number 12 is going to be the last gold on our list. I think the Giratina Gold Secret Rare, or not Secret Rare, but the Gold Galarian card is a little bit better than the Arceus one, but overall I still think there's quite a few cards better than it. I think this gold style fits Giratina a lot better than the Arceus, and I like the underground dark vibe that they did with this Giratina a lot as well. I think it's very well done, and again, I can see why it's the number one chase card, just not to my personal liking, and I'd rather pick up a couple other ones. So that's why I put Giratina over just outside the top 10 here at number 12. For number 11, I'm going to go with one that I don't think many people like or many people really know about, and that's the Raikou Trainer Gallery card. I think this one's really cool looking. Again, I think there's a common theme where like the pinks and the yellows and the blues work really well in this card, and this card reminds me of a scene you'd see out of like a Flash comic book again, about him going super fast, and it does, I think, take an okay, decent looking Pokemon like Raikou up to the next level. And that's why I'm going to put him just outside the top 10, a little bit above that Giratina Gold Star, which I'll probably get a little bit of flack for, but that one is my personal number 11. Now getting into the top 10, I'm super excited about these cards. I don't know if these will be very popular, but at number 10, I'm going to go with the Hatterene VMAX Galarian Gallery card. And I think this one is so pretty looking. It reminds me of something you'd see out of Pokemon Snap. And again, the pink, the greens, the blues just work so well. And the sky on this card, as well as like the tops of the trees, I think are so well done. There's so many little details with this big Godzilla-sized Hatterene slumbering through the forest. I think it's just super pretty, and that's why this is my number 10 card for the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery set. Number 9 looks very similar to number 10, but I think it edges out a little bit. It's going to be the Keldeo on the lake with the Aurora Borealis above it. Again, very common theme I'm seeing here with the greens, blues, and purples, but I think this card just looks great together. And Keldeo, again, not one of my favorite Pokemon, but I think they did it just so good. And for a $5 card, I would love to pick this one up. A couple copies of this as a single. Just the greens and the blues and the skies and the reflection is just so pretty. I love the fact that they gave him so much artistic liberty, and the talent that they brought on did these cards so much justice. And it's just really pretty looking, and that's why it's my number 9 card. My number 8, very similar to the other two, is a Pokemon on the lake, but it's going to be the Darkrai. I think this is V-Star. It might just be a regular V, but it's him sitting on the lake surrounded by the pink swirl. And I think this one is an awesome take on Darkrai, because usually when we see Darkrai cards, they're considered to be like a dark background. It's kind of like a Giratina-esque vibe, but just the opposite appeal with the light background and a usually dark-looking Pokemon, I think is a great contrast, and it's really well done here. That's why it sits at my number 8 spot. Moving on from 7 and above, I feel like any of these could be my top 1, and they're all so pretty looking. But for my number 7, I know it's a lot of people's favorite, and it is very cool, but it's going to be the Mewtwo V-Star card. This is the alternate variation from the Charizard UPC promo we've seen, and I think this card is, again, so cool. However, I think the Charizard one is better. And again, this suffers from just being so busy because there's so many effects and colors and a lot going on. And while that is cool, and you can find little Easter eggs like the Diglett and the Tangrowth, I think there's just something to be taken away with almost too much happening on this card. Still a great looking card, and one I'd be very happy to pull. The number 6 is one I had struggle with putting outside my top 5. And when I first saw this Galarian Gallery set, I honestly thought it'd be in my top 3, but here we are. It's going to be the Kricketune V card, or the Kricketune V-Star? I don't remember, but it's the Kricketune card, and I just think it is so incredibly pretty. I think it's definitely one of the more artistic ones. I love the vibe of it. I could definitely see this being like a piece in a museum. All the Easter eggs are just so cute with like the Lotads and the Mareeps and the other Pokemon in the background, as well as Kricketune. And the lighting is so well done, and like the Plaza Square kind of reminds me of something you'd see out of Animal Crossing, and I just really love this card. And I look forward to adding this one into my Galarian Gallery binder as well. Onward to the top 5 cards that I think stick out the most in Galarian Gallery, and are some of the least expensive, but best looking. And at number 5, I'm going to go with the Oricorio Galarian Gallery card. Now again, they're taking a not very popular Pokemon, a Pokemon most people probably don't even know exists or forgot exists in Oricorio, and giving its own like pizzazz and style in this Cuban inspired art piece, and it's just done so well. And the colors on this, everything just goes so well together. It's eye-catching, it's very beautiful. If you take the text off, I probably wouldn't even know it as a Pokemon card. I think it's just an incredible piece, and the fact you can pick it up for less than $3, again, amazing, and I think it's worth a spot in anyone's collection, Crown Zenith or not. That's why it's going to be at my number 5. And for my number 4, I had a little bit of struggle deciding if this is going to be my 3rd or 4th. I feel like these two can really interchange, but I'm going to go with the Lumineon V4, or a Galarian Gallery card. I think this one is super pretty. It reminds me of like a deep ocean, cavern, and just the colors Again, the contrast, the lighting is super beautiful. It looks like you're in like one of those aquarium domes you'd see if you went to an aquarium and you look in it, you know what I mean? And the coral, with the bright coral and the dark lighting and the dark water and the luminion at the center of it, I think it's incredible. It's a great looking card, and again, feels like one of those that's definitely more a museum art piece than a Pokemon card, and one I definitely look forward to adding to my collection again. Might even want a graded one of this, just because I think this is such a good looking card. Now my number 3 here is a little bit less artsy than the surrounding ones, but I still think it's very pretty and definitely has that photo aspect to it. And that's going to be the Lapras Galarian Gallery card. I think this is just a fantastic way to display Lapras, because usually it's considered to be the island Pokemon. So when you give it this like Bahamas, Ivory Coast feel to it, with the not with the coral, but with the reef behind it and the water, and the fact you're seeing both end of the water and of the sky. And again, all the cameos they have, like the other Lapras in the background. I think this is just a great showcase of a great beloved Pokemon, and the Pokemon Card Company did a fantastic job on this one. So I'm going to have to give this one to my number 3 slot. But again, I feel like this and Luminion could change places, and I wouldn't be too weird about it. But that's going to be my number 3 favorite card for the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery set. Now number 2 is a Pokemon that's been receiving a lot of love recently, and definitely overshadows the other in its trio, but I'm going to go with the Suicune V card. Again, it does the photo aspect thing that the Glaceon did, where it's like wildlife photography, but I think this one's just done better. I think the way Suicune is posed, and the wind, and the mountain, and the snow, and everything just fits like where you would see a real life Suicune at, and I just love this card. I think, again, the lighting's fantastic. The artist that took the artistic liberties to do this just nailed it. Just hit it out of the park. It's an incredible looking card, but not quite my number 1. However, this is, I think, the most expensive card in my top 5, top 7. And I think it's very well deserved, but it still takes the place in number 2. My number 1 favorite Galarian Gallery card, and the card that I want a PSA 10 copy of to display into my collection forever, because it just feels like it could fit inside a house as a painting or in a museum as a staple piece, is the Hisuian Samurott V card. And I think the painting, the paintbrush effects you have on this are just incredible. It feels like an oil painting canvas. Him looking into the mountains, the reflection in the water, the orange contrasted with the beautiful blue, contrasted with the beautiful green, just looks like a Bob Ross painting in the form of a Pokemon card, and one I want so bad. And if there's ever a time in my life where I have the funds and I have the resources to do so, I want to get a couple of these graded to display anywhere in my house, because I feel like, Pokemon card lover or not, you can't disagree that this piece is just beautiful. And to pick one up for only $5 is something I want to do. I want to pull it to. I want to have it in all sorts of forms, because I think this might be one of my top 3 cards in the entire Sword and Shield era set. So maybe I'll have to do a video on that just to confirm, take a look back. But that's going to do it for my top 25 list. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if there's any cards on this list that you disagree with, you think should be there, cards that should be higher up that aren't, or cards that I put very high up that you don't think are, and what your number 1 chase card is, because for me, it's going to be that Hisuian Samurott V. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it, and until next time, I'll see you later.